Hey everybody, it's Alessandro from Innovate with Impact, #Smaller Relief. I'm here with Nancy today. Hey Nancy.
Hi, Alessandra.
Nancy's in California and I miss her very much. She's basically my cousin. So we haven't seen each other in a long time, but it's always great to connect with you and really, really excited to do this call with you. But before we get started, maybe you can quickly introduce yourself, what it is that you do and what's your background.
My name's Nancy Tavakol, and I come from a business management background. And some way, somehow, I ended up in accounting, and I've been doing accounting since I was 21, so about 23 years now. I do financial, CFO, CEO type stuff, and I also do business consulting as well as organizational consulting. And now I've added one more tier to my practice where I'm doing tax returns. So it's kind of the big picture for a small business where they don't need to hire a full-time CFO. So that's kind of my niche.
And all of these topics right now, I'm sure, are in very high demand. And obviously, you're a powerhouse, so I cannot wait to see what's going to come next. So tell me a little bit more. So what's going on that front? What are your clients dealing with? What are the key challenges? How has the whole Corona situation affected your business?
So I feel like it's very industry based, and a lot of my clients, I want to say about 60% of them have been able to sustain all of their employees and their business. I have clients that are appraisers in the real estate market. So people are refinancing and taking advantage of the low rates right now. So he's super busy, has not been impacted. I have a lot of structural engineers and contractors, which at first were not impacted until their clients are starting to come back to them and putting halts on projects. And then I have others that have completely been shut down, dermatology offices, anything that isn't considered essential. And I believe in the beginning it was not that big of a deal until all of the closures started happening, until the state's home order and everything started being mandated as permanent closures without any looseness, and everybody has freaked out. And my business in the beginning was not impacted at all. I thought the world has stopped for 2 weeks, which is always what I've needed. So I could finally breathe, take a break, get caught up, actually get uninterrupted work done where my phone isn't ringing off the hook, having to answer 5,000 emails and text messages. It was an opportunity for me to get ahead of the game on financials to CPAs for tax returns, so everybody didn't have to file extensions. So for me, it was positive. I work from home anyways. My office is home based, so nothing changed there until the SBA loans and PPP loans started coming out. As soon as the government started announcing grants, forgivable loans, it was insanity. Mm-hmm. Everyone was going crazy over trying to get their hands on this money. Every client was calling and emailing, and how do we do it? What do we do? And the problem is there's no information. Mm-hmm. The government has no information, and they have been changing every 5 seconds. It's forgivable, but then it's only forgivable if, and they don't tell you this until after the fact. So honestly, a lot of clients were trying to get their hands on money that they didn't need. And a lot of clients that needed it were not granted the money. So it has been such a roller coaster with all of this, where everybody went into panic fear mode. Clients that are still semi-lucrative and clients that are at home trying to figure out how they're going to pay their mortgage. What we've done for a lot of those is looked at HELOCs on their homes, because it's probably easier to get a HELOC than it is to work with the government. And luckily, with a lot of my clients, we've set them up for this so that if ever there comes a time where business slows down, we've made sure that they have a nice little cushion. And I feel those that are always looking ahead financially, that have a little bit of a cushion, it's minimized their fear. Mm-hmm. And I feel a lot of what's happening right now is fear-based versus reality, because we don't know what's going to happen. And right now, everyone's at a standstill. But we're all just doing what's in front of us. And I feel for my business personally, you know, I'm still busy working because no matter what, people need to file their taxes, you know, financials need to be done. And I'm focusing on the day instead of who's going to pay me, who's not going to pay me, what's going to happen. Just, I've got work for today. I do what's in front of me, and that's where I keep my focus, because I have no control over what's going to happen. And proactively, what I've done is, for my personal business, is without waiting for my clients to reach out to me, I've proactively reached out to the clients that I know that have been impacted, and we've modified my services for them, because there's no reason for them to incur fees that they cannot pay. You know, so we've done some of that, and everyone's just on a hold with the PPP loans and SBA loans. But a lot of my clients have only been impacted like 60-70%. They're still working, they're still generating income, but it's not at full capacity. And those that aren't have a little bit of a safety net and are in a minor panic zone. And a lot of them, luckily, are more worried about their employees than themselves.
Yeah.
About making sure that their employees are taken care of, and have paid out PTO time to give them a cushion, have paid out early bonuses to give them a cushion. And shockingly, the government's $600 extra that they're giving for unemployment is actually more than some of these employees were making. Okay. So it's actually been beneficial for some of them to be on unemployment.
What's the unemployment right now in the United States? What can you expect to get if you need it?
If you're earning like decent income, it's $450 a week from the state, and then the federal is offering an additional $600. Okay. So it's $1,050 a week, which is what, like almost 50,000. It's like 50,000 a year, which is not great, but for doing nothing is not bad, you know?
Yeah, of course. It can help, at least for the time being.
Yeah.
What do you think is the biggest mistake that companies are making right now? Or is there a big mistake that you see happening, you know, dealing with so many different companies?
I mean, I can only speak on my clients, and right now they're not making any moves without getting guidance.
Okay, smart.
So they're getting guidance from their CPAs, from me, from peers, what people are doing, what they're not doing, what they should do. I think the biggest struggle that a lot of clients have been having is when to furlough the employees. You know, whether or not to do a permanent layoff, a furlough, reduced income, and it's just trying to navigate that based on cash flow projection, what's going to happen, how long the this whole stay-at-home order is going to last for, and that unknown has kind of been hard. So they have held off as much as they could, and they're now starting to furlough some employees and restructuring. So for my clients, so far everyone that didn't have to lay off has kept their employees going because the funds are still coming in. So I don't have experience in any I can't believe that happened, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing though. That actually sounds like very good news, and I hope that's something that also is going to, manifest itself more throughout the United States, so that many businesses actually have a similar luck or a similar situation where they can actually sustain and kind of keep going, right? So what would be, you gave some pointers already earlier, but what would be like, we were talking about the biggest challenges, but what would be the biggest opportunities right now, or the biggest maybe pieces of advice that you can give? If there was one thing that a company should do, besides obviously talking to you, what is the major thing they can be doing?
I mean, I just feel from a financial standpoint, because that's always the only thing I'm ever looking at is money, because that's my job. I feel at a financial standpoint is just be aware of your clients and know which one of your clients are impacted by this, and not continue generating $30,000 bills that are not going to get paid. you know, and just trying to be smart about where you allocate your time with your clients so that you know the ones that you can receive revenue from, because this is how your employees are going to get paid. This is how you're going to sustain your business, and not keep going down the rabbit hole with clients that are heavily impacted, that can't pay. They're not going to benefit from getting a bill that they can't pay, nor are you going to benefit from putting time into a client that you're not going to make some revenue off of for now. Just like I have with my clients. I've reached out to them proactively and figured out how can we stay together as a team, but not generate a heavy debt. You know, so my time can be spent with clients that are still lucrative, that can still pay. That's been one thing that I feel is a smart thing, and to stay on top of your receivables. You know, a lot of people have a bleeding heart and they feel bad trying to chase down money that's owed to them during this time, but not everybody's impacted. So why not follow up on the ones that are still working and get paid, you know, and just stay really heavy on staying on top of your receivables. But all of my businesses are service related, you know, so that is the advice that I can give on a service related industry. You know, they're all engineers and architects and doctors, and
makes a big difference too, right?
Yeah, it definitely makes a big difference. You're in control of what work you do, whether you do it or not. It's very different, you know, it's very different, but that's been a huge one. And then also just managing your employees. You want to keep them happy, but you also want to make sure that you're utilizing them to the full capacity. And I feel now is a great time to get projects done that have been on the back burner. If there's not a lot of work, but you still have the funds to keep you want to keep the employees employed, now is the time to get all the projects done that are on the back burner. I have found a lot of people got paralyzed by COVID. They just completely got paralyzed. And like on a personal level, I'm doing yard work. I'm doing things that I never have time for. You know, I'm doing little projects that I never have time for. I finally like reorganized the garage and things that you just never do because you're always so busy. And it's like, now's the time to take advantage, because once we're back in action in life, we're right back in the rat race. You know, but I just feel like emotionally, everyone just got paralyzed by this, and they're allowing that to win. And I think it's a perception thing. It's all how you see things, how you perceive it, really affects the actions that you're able to take and the impact that you allow it to have on your life and your serenity, you know, which is really it. Like, all we have is today.
Absolutely. The point that you just made is so powerful, and I keep hearing it through most interviews. And you know, it's absolutely so. I hear people who are completely paralyzed, and I hear people who are really skipping into gear and saying, we're taking this opportunity and we're going to run this business and we're going to make something out of it. Not that it's going to be easy, but they're not just going to, you know, lean back and just wait for things to happen. And however that manifests itself, whether that be focusing on the business side, focusing on something personal, I strongly have come to believe that this is the time right now to either, you know, push forward and innovate and change, or do something, or keep driving the business, or, you know, figure something out where you can establish or reestablish yourself, because it is an opportunity as much as it is a risk and a challenge. And I think with the right mindset, and with the statement also, you know, we're being handed lemons, let's start making lemonade. I actually see a lot of businesses going into success mode right now, even though they're not supposed to. I see restaurants that have, you know, started delivering food that didn't deliver food before, and they're doing extremely well. I see other restaurants that are about to go bankrupt because they didn't start to do so. And you know, if there's one business that's definitely heavily impacted, it's definitely restaurants and
for sure,
businesses that you mentioned earlier. But I find it so fascinating that you definitely see businesses that are, you know, doing at least well, if not very well, in this particular time. And so it is an opportunity as much as it is a challenge.
So just to touch on what you said, like I feel like with the downtime, if there is downtime, like I said, a lot of businesses are maybe not at 100%, but they're at 70. And with that 30, and with my own business, which right now all of a sudden it got ramped into high gear. But when there was a little bit of a lull, I'm like, oh my God, this is a great time for me to streamline my processes a little bit more. This is a great time for me to fully utilize this tool that I'm like using at 30%, that I can now utilize at 100%, 70%. So I'm more efficient in my business. With one of the structural engineer clients that I have, we have a project management software that we implemented about, I want to say mid 2017. I feel you need a PhD to know how to use this software. It is so complicated. But when utilized properly, it can provide so much analysis that will help the business better with their budgets, better with their contracts, better with their resourcing. And we've been spending a lot of time, now that we have a little bit of a breather, on really cleaning up the system. And these are a lot of things that businesses, like you mentioned, like should be doing. How can you push forward with the things that, we just have been neglecting because we don't have the time for, taking advantage of this time and not getting paralyzed by the fear of the unknown and just getting stuck, and spinning your wheels. Like, take advantage of the time and really take care of the things that you need to, that you've just never had time to. And like I said, even in your personal life, all those things that have been on the back burner, that if only there was a moment of breather, now's the time to do it. Like I said, I started a tax practice and I don't know what I'm doing. I've been doing financials for 25 years and I know maybe a little bit of taxes, but I've been taking this opportunity to do some practice returns, get a couple done. And I would have never had the time before. And now I've knocked out 5 and I'm going to grow that piece of my business, which will diversify me. Because before, everything's going to become automated at some point.
Yeah.
So you have to find ways to like diversify and get ahead of the game. And it's really a fear thing that I feel just takes over, and it's this staying in a small box, like you were talking about with the restaurants. I've never done delivery. Now I'm going to do delivery. But those that just say, that can't think outside the box, just feel like, oh, we just shut down, we make no money. I had a client who does an acting school. All of a sudden he called me and he's like, I didn't get the PPP loan. I'm going to shut down my business. I'm just like, where is that coming from?
Yeah.
I had to like have a come to Jesus talk with him and just walk him through his thought process. I'm just like, everybody's doing Zoom. You've been doing Zoom. Like, why all of a sudden 0 to 60, Yeah. And it's just it's where a lot of people just need pep talks.
Yeah.
But they automatically go into fear, like end of the world mode.
Yeah.
So it's having peers, I feel, that are doing things differently. It's about widening your network, which you guys are so good at, you know what I mean? So you have so many people to talk to find out what they're doing, so that you don't just stay within your own mind, So
yeah. You just brought up another super important point, and I cannot stress that enough. It's reach out. So either reach out to get help or reach out to give help, whichever it is, just do it. It will have so many benefits, because it will also get you out of your own mind, in a sense that, what you were talking about just right now, when you spend too much time on your own and you think about a situation too much, you start becoming you start going down that rabbit hole where you just start focusing on that particular point. And then all of a sudden everything is going to become dark. But if you start talking to somebody, an advisor, a friend, or somebody who is doing okay, all of a sudden you get a different perspective. And I think that's extremely essential.
100%.
Yeah. That leads me to my last question. You gave so many amazing insights. I love this interview. So I'm looking forward to sharing it. What's the first thing you'll be doing once you get out of the lockdown?
Rollerblading at the beach.
What's the first thing your mom will be doing once she gets out of the lockdown?
Missing me.
That's it. Thank you so much for taking the time. I miss you a lot. And we were supposed to be in LA right now. Obviously, it did not happen, but I hope it will happen soon. And cannot wait to see you and give you a big hug.
Oh, I love you so much.
Love you too. I look
Thank
forward to seeing
you.
you soon. Bye.
Okay, bye.